Before our wedding, Gu Baishan secretly swapped the groom's name for Gu Huainan, his uncle. It was shocking.
Are you crazy? Lin Xinwan has wasted 7 whole years waiting for you and has become an old maid because of it.
Gu Baishan just smiled indifferently.
I lost a bet with Ruan, so I have to do what she says. It's just a marriage certificate change. Lin Xinwan's marriage is already ruined. Once more won't matter.
Su Ruan is the niece she took in, and now she serves as her personal maid.
Once she realizes, she'll rush back to me. Even if she accidentally weds him, he can't perform anyway. Lin Xinwan will still be mine, and I'll have leverage over her.
His tone was frivolous and careless, and everyone immediately burst into laughter. I stood at the doorway for a long time, my heart grew cold. I turned and dumped the soup. Then, my mother rushed over, holding the wrong marriage certificate. I just smiled and said, "It's okay, let's stick with this." This time, I didn't ask him to fix the marriage certificate. The day we proposed to the Gus coincided with Gu Baishan taking Su Ruan out. I casually handed him my wedding invitation, but he just tossed it aside. To the side.
I won't read your apology letter. When you bring me the hairpin that Ruan likes, I'll consider forgiving you.
I didn't explain, just looked at him coldly as he left. Later, I celebrated my wedding with great joy. That day, the always aloof and self-controlled Gu Baishan went mad. He broke in oddly.
I'm supposed to be the groom. Clearly, I'm the groom.
Wan, are you sure you really won't change this marriage contract? But that Gu Huainan is someone who can't fulfill his marital duties.
Lu Qin's eyes turned slightly red, and I felt a bit guilty in my heart. Ever since Gu Baishan agreed to marry me, the happiest person has been my mother. She pointed out that I had waited for Gu Baishan for 7 years, witnessing me wait from my youthful years all the way to the age of maturity, year after year, and finally, it happened. The capital mocked me as an unwanted maid until the Gus proposed. My mother cried, then spent 30 nights embroidering my wedding dress. But now, Gu Baishan sent the wrong contract over a bet with his maid. I felt exhausted. Staring at the red paper, I whispered, "It's fine. We're all Gu family anyway." I know I can no longer act willfully. For the 10th time, Gu Baishan broke his promise and changed our wedding date. The first time, Jingzhong rebuked his heartlessness. The second time, the ladies speculated about a conflict between us. As it kept happening, everyone blamed me, calling me a shameless, malicious reject. They loathed me. Even Gu Baishan, my old friend, refused marriage. When he first ended it, I did think of moving on. But the matchmaker... As soon as the matchmaker saw me, she would politely push the gifts back, saying, "Young Master Gu has already said you belong to him. Who else would dare compete with her in Jinzhong? Besides, with your reputation, miss, in the future, you'll probably only be able to become the Gu family's wife." My slender forefinger landed on the 3 characters Gu Huainan. I knew that I had finally let go of my entanglement with Gu Baishan and resigned myself to becoming a concubine in the Gu family. Only, this Gu was not that Gu, that's all. Old Madame Gu was extremely surprised when she learned that I was going to marry Gu Huainan. Considering Gu Huainan was her favorite youngest and often ill, she immediately agreed to the marriage and even added more betrothal gifts.
I heard it was Gu Huainan who secretly made up the difference for you.
Mother whispered, I said, eyeing the many chests in the courtyard and nodding, satisfied. Wedding preparations were underway, but... That day, an unexpected visitor arrived. It was Gu Baishan. He wore a dark purple embroidered robe, looking dignified. His hair was tied in a purple gold crown. He looked spirited and confident. His eyes were filled with pride and schadenfreude. And following behind him was none other than Su Ruan. I knew he thought I still hadn't discovered the mistake in the marriage contract. Seeing that I ignored him, he didn't mind at all, and simply picked up the cup I had drunk from. He finished the tea in one gulp.
Everything for the wedding has been prepared.
Hearing the indifference in my voice, a strange look flashed across her face, but she only reminded me.
Checked everything, the gifts, invitations, and contract for this big event. Want to double check them?
I ignored it. Acting like I missed her hint, I just said, everything's checked. If that's all, you can go. Gu Baishan looked displeased, but he pursed his lips and said,
I did come to see you today for a reason. Back then, I gave you my mother's jade bracelet. That bracelet is meant for my future wife. Now that you haven't married into the family yet, shouldn't you return the bracelet to me first?
When I got that bracelet, I was 16. That day, the sun was bright, and Gu Baishan approached me mysteriously. As soon as we met, he slipped the jade bracelet onto my wrist. That pure white jade bracelet was clearly precious. I tried to remove it, but he gripped my wrist tightly.
This is a family heirloom my mother prepared for my future wife. You keep it.
Shadows flickered. Her smile was even brighter than the sunlight. Later, I learned that the jade bracelet was his mother's longtime family heirloom. When Madame Gu caught her stealing it, she beat her severely, but Gu Baishan stood his ground and declared,
I won't marry anyone else but her. It doesn't matter when the bracelet is given.
In the blink of an eye, I had worn that bracelet for 7 years. It became a part of my life, just like Gu Baishan. Seeing me remain silent, Gu Baishan thought I was unwilling. Just as he was about to say something, Su Ruan, who was beside him, took his arm first and gently said, maybe we should just let it go. After all, my sister has worn it for so long tonight.
No matter how long you've worn it, it's still Gu family property. I said I would let you try it on, so I will definitely let you try it.
They wanted it for Su Ruan. I handed over the jade bracelet. Gu Baichen was stunned. He looked surprised and uncertain, but I didn't care. You're right, this belongs to the Gus. Since we aren't married, I shouldn't wear it. It's not appropriate. Gu Baichen seemed a bit uncomfortable. He took the bracelet and said,
When we get married, I'll personally put it on you again.
He spoke formally. Su Ruan looked jealous. Gu Baichen handed her the bracelet. As he turned to leave, I stopped him. Gu Baichen, you returned the bracelet. But where is the Lin family's pendant? He paused in his steps, looking at me in disbelief.
You want me to return the token of our engagement to you, Lin Qingwan? Are you saying you don't want to marry me anymore?
I nearly asked who he really was. Did he not want this marriage? But I chose to save my dignity, avoiding becoming a bitter woman. Instead of pressing him, I simply said, You shouldn't keep that pendant. He reached down, yanked the jade pendant from his waist, and tossed it to me.
This jade pendant is already old. It really should be replaced.
Yubi, hand in hand with Su Ruan, turned and left. I didn't follow, just touched the crack on the jade pendant. It was a sword mark. After getting the pendant, he treasured it, keeping it close to his chest. Until one time during a bandit suppression, an arrow suddenly flew straight at his chest. Everyone thought that Gu Baichen would be seriously injured, or even lose his life because of it. But he just stood there in a daze for a moment, then slowly took it out from his chest. That jade pendant, still warm from his body, had blocked the arrow and saved his life. Later, he knelt in front of me and said,
Wan, you are my lucky star. If it weren't for you, I would have died long ago. From now on, I will never let you down.
We were inseparable then, but later even our way of addressing each other became distant. He never called me Wan again, simply because Su Renruan said our names were similar, making him feel like a superfluous substitute. So from then on, Gu Baichen directly called me by my name, Miss. The maid Xiao Tao's worried voice pulled me out of my past memories. I gave her the jade pendant. This jade pendant is cracked. Take it and get rid of it. But I smiled and said, You spent several nights carving it yourself. It was no use. After that, Gu Baichen never came to see me again, and there were only 4 days left until my wedding with Uncle Gu. That day, my mother took me to see old Madame Gu to discuss the wedding. It was also the first time I saw Gu Huainan. She was sitting in a wooden wheelchair. Her face was unhealthy and pale, but her appearance was extremely handsome. Old Madame Gu said, Huainan, the sugar flowers in the garden are blooming. Perfect timing. Why don't you take Xinwan for a walk? I softly agreed and stepped forward to push Gu Huainan's wheelchair. He was a witty, humorous, and erudite man who could talk to me about anything, even the Bible and the latest trends in rouge and makeup. I was initially a little nervous, but Jing gradually became less reserved. During our casual conversation, a sharp gaze fell on me. I turned to look at Gu Baichen, who was standing under the eaves. His dark, deep eyes were fixed on Gu Huainan and me, and he was holding a gold-embossed invitation. I immediately recognized it as the invitation we had just discussed with old Madame Gu regarding Gu Huainan and my marriage. Gu Baichen's eyes were deep and unreadable, but his slightly pursed lips revealed that he was not in a good mood. When he saw me turn around, he slowly walked over.
Why are you with my uncle?
Before I could explain, Gu Huainan glanced at him and spoke calmly.
Why should I have to report my affairs to you?
His voice was cold, unlike his earlier gentle tone. That one sentence shifted Gu Baichen's expression. I suddenly recalled that Gu Huainan, even injured, was the Gu family's god of war and Western Ding's pillar. Gu Baichen gripped the invitation and said,
I just don't want him to trouble you, Uncle. Uncle Xingwan and I still have some things to talk about. Could you?
Gu Huainan's gaze fell on me. I hesitated for a moment, then nodded. He then wheeled himself out to the corridor. The distance was neither too far nor too close. He wouldn't be able to hear our conversation, but he could still see everything happening in the garden clearly. Seeing this, Gu Baichen seemed somewhat displeased, as if tasting vinegar, but he didn't dare to show it. He simply fixed his gaze on me, and as soon as he spoke, it was in a tone of accusation.
Lin Qingwan, why'd you sell our token, the pendant?
That day, I had Xiao Tao sell the jade pendant cheaply, unexpectedly ending up in Gu Baichen's hands again. It was broken and needed disposal, I explained calmly.
All right then, but in the future, you'll have to give me an even better one. Still, that day I was just speaking offhand, yet you actually went and sold it. Aren't you being a bit too obedient? If in the future, I were to say that I want Ruan to be my wife, and you could only be a concubine, would you go so far as to help me bring her into the household yourself?
I glanced at her in surprise. I just didn't want the pendant anymore, yet she thought her remark made me sell it. I was almost amused by her self-assured manner, but wanting no trouble, I gave her the invitation, saying that if there was nothing else, I would head back first. This is for Li Yijun's wedding. Since she is going, she needs one too. But before I finished, Gu Baichen nonchalantly took the invitation from me.
The date is in 4 days. Tomorrow I'm hunting with Ruan outside the capital, and might not return in time. Please ask grandmother to move it to the 5th day.
Surprised, I felt Gu Baichen was acting inexplicably. He deliberately botched the marriage contract, and neither mentioned it since. Now my marriage follows that contract, and I'm set to marry Gu Huainan. Yet, he's forgotten this, acting as if I'd only marry him. I'm unsure if it's overconfidence or disregard for the rules. My long silence made him sigh, as if compromising.
Let me go that day, and I'll try to hurry back.
As he spoke, he lowered his head, about to look at the wedding invitation, when a clear, bright female voice rang out. Bachin Giga, Suranran, like a spring oriole, threw herself into his arms. Gu Bachin instinctively caught her. "I've already packed everything," she said, and then, as if just noticing me, she became flustered, fiddling with the white jade bracelet in her hand. "Sister Xinwan, please don't misunderstand.
He's not that petty.
Gu Bachin casually stuffed the wedding invitation into his wide sleeve and rubbed Suruan-Ruan's head.
He knows I treat you like a younger sister, so he won't mind these little things.
Suruan-Ruan kept her breathing steady, her teeth gently clenched, and forced a smile as she said, "Sister Xinwan, you're really generous. I thought that if someone encountered something like this, they'd definitely get jealous." Gu Bachin's gaze fell on my face, which remained calm, but he finally looked a bit uneasy.
Xinwan, you...
"It's getting late. I still need to go back and prepare for the wedding day." She was taken aback for a moment, then hurriedly nodded.
Hurry back and get ready. Once you're a Gu, I'll treat you well.
I couldn't be bothered to say anything more to her, and left without hesitation. 4 days later, the Gu family's wedding procession arrived early. I had thought Gu Huainan would choose to ride in a carriage, but unexpectedly, I don't know what method she used, she actually mounted a tall white horse. Through the swaying beaded curtain of my phoenix coronet, she gave me a slight smile. Her warm, large hand held mine as we slowly exited the bridal chamber. I looked up at her and saw fine beads of sweat on her forehead, knowing that it must not have been easy for her to stand up like that. I couldn't help but feel moved. First, we bowed to heaven and earth, then to our elders. The matchmaker's voice grew louder with each call. As I turned, preparing to make the final bow, suddenly there was a commotion outside.
Let me in. I'm the real groom.
A figure burst in. It was Gu Bachin, who had taken Su Ruanan out of the capital for an outing. He looked a bit disheveled. Seeing me in my wedding dress, Gu Bachin immediately cursed.
Lin Xinhuan, have you no shame? Just because I was a little late, you actually went and married another man so casually.
Everyone looked at her with strange expressions, because everyone knew today was the wedding of Gu Huainan and me. As Gu Huainan's junior, he should respectfully address me as Aunt Shen, but perhaps he was too angry to realize this, and his face was full of contempt.
Let me tell you, I came here today on purpose to expose you. If you behave yourself, I'll let you marry into the Gu family. Uncle, you're also at fault. He's being childish and making trouble. So why are you going along with him? Ling Xinguan, why are you still standing there in a daze? Hurry up and come help me change into my wedding dress.
The main hall fell into complete silence, and the guests looked at each other in astonishment. On the high seat, old Madame Gu's face was ashen with rage, her eyes bloodshot as she stared fixedly at Gu Bachin. Suddenly, she slammed her hand down on the red cushioned chair and shouted angrily, "You unfilial child? What nonsense are you spouting? Today is your uncle's wedding day. How dare you cause a scene here? Someone, drag him out for me." Gu Bachin's eyes were filled with disbelief.
How could it possibly be my uncle's wedding day? It's clearly supposed to be my wedding with Lin Xinguan.
Gu Bachin was held down tightly by several servants, blood from the wound on his forehead trickling down his cheek and dripping onto his luxurious brocade robe, blooming into glaring red stains. He was stunned for a second, as if he couldn't believe what he had just heard. Those usually nonchalant eyes were now filled with shock and disbelief, staring fixedly at the matriarch, sitting high above. Just as he was about to be dragged out, Gu Bachin suddenly lost control and began to struggle, forcefully shaking off the servants holding him. His strength was so great that the servants staggered back several steps. Pointing at me, his voice was hoarse, laced with a crazed loss of control.
Impossible. This is absolutely impossible. Lin Xinguan is clearly my fiancé. We grew up together, and our marriage was arranged since childhood. When my father and mother were alive, they had already tacitly approved it. Who in the entire capital doesn't know about this? How could she possibly marry my uncle? There must be some mistake. You're all conspiring to deceive me.
She staggered forward and rushed toward Madame Gu, her knees slamming heavily onto the cold golden bricks with a dull thud. The scab on her forehead split open from the impact, and fresh blood gushed out again, covering half her face. She looked both wretched and ferocious.
Grandmother, you love me the most. Please tell them that this marriage contract is fake. It was Lin Xinguan. She's the shameless one who wants to cling to uncle and deliberately altered the marriage contract. Please have them pull her away and let me marry him instead of her.
Madame Gu was so angry that her whole body was trembling, her chest heaving violently, and even the finger she pointed at Gu Bachin was shaking. He took a deep breath, forcefully suppressing the anger in his heart, his voice icy cold and piercing. "You unfilial child, how long are you going to keep spouting nonsense? You were the one who altered the marriage contract yourself. Do you think I don't know? For the sake of a maid, you gambled your own marriage and treated Xinguan's reputation as a joke. Now you barge in and cause a scene at the wedding hall, refusing to acknowledge your own aunt. Do you have any sense of what it means to be a descendant of the Gu family?"
I changed it.
Gu Bachin was stunned for a moment, then as if remembering something his eyes flickered, but he still stubbornly refused to admit it.
Grandmother, you're wronging me. How could I do such a thing? It must have been Lin Xinguan. She didn't want to marry me and deliberately set me up.
Hearing this, I spoke coldly, my voice calm, yet carrying an undeniable authority. How could there be a mistake? As soon as I finished speaking, Xiaotao walked forward holding a rosewood tray. On the tray was the marriage certificate with a red background and gold lettering. Carefully wrapped in a layer of transparent brocade, she respectfully presented the marriage certificate before everyone, displaying it for all the guests to see. The certificate clearly stated the names of my lady and young master Gu Huanan, bearing the Gu family seal and the marriage certificate number, personally bestowed by His Majesty. There's no way it could be fake. I continued. All the wedding invitations sent out by our neighboring residents in recent days also clearly state both our names. Every reputable family in Jinzhong has received one, so there's no way there could be a mistake. Gu Beichen, you deliberately altered the marriage certificate, but delayed coming forward to correct it. Now, after Huanan and I have completed the wedding ceremony, you barge in and cause a scene. Who is truly shameless here is obvious at a glance. At these words, the guests who had come to the official residence all began to chime in, their voices rising and falling like waves, surging toward Gu Beichen.
Exactly. My family received a wedding invitation for Miss Li and young master Gu Huainan. It clearly stated his name, not Gu Beichen's. I got one too. All the Gu family's preparations have been for Gu Huainan. He handled everything from picking wedding fabrics and cosmetics to finalizing the bridal chamber decor. If she weren't his bride, why would he be so attentive? Isn't that so? Where has Gu Beichen been these days? I heard he took that maid Su Ruan and went hunting and sightseeing in the suburbs of the capital. He doesn't even care about his own fiancé's wedding. He doesn't act like a groom at all. And now he even has the nerve to barge in here and make a scene. It's truly disgraceful, if you ask me. Gu Beichen is just reaping what he sowed. Miss Lin waited for him for 7 years, but he broke his promise again and again. Now that Miss Lin is marrying someone else, he's suddenly anxious. Where was all this urgency before?
Everyone was talking at once, their tones full of contempt and mockery. Those words were like needles, stabbing hard into Gu Beichen's heart. He had originally taken Su Runrun out to the suburbs on purpose to manipulate me, and deliberately delayed coming back. He aimed to return just in time, hoping I'd panic and beg her. But he never expected this. Consequently, he faced public ridicule. Over the years, the capital witnessed her actions. At first, some defended me and condemned her. They called her heartless and untrustworthy, but as it happened more and more, people gradually saw her true nature. Some people thought she was highly skilled, able to keep a woman completely under her control. But even more people looked down on her actions, believing she didn't deserve someone as devoted as Lin Xingwan. Gu Beichen's face turned red and then white, looking as ugly as a painter's palette. He clenched his fists tightly, his nails digging deep into his palms and leaving bloody marks, yet he still refused to give up. His gaze was fixed on me, filled with a hint of pleading, a trace of unwillingness, and a touch of a panic he himself hadn't even noticed. Gritting his teeth, he asked,
Lin Xingwan, are you really going to marry a cripple out of a moment of impulsiveness? He can't even stand up. He can't give you happiness. It's still not too late to turn back now. As long as you say the word, I'll pretend none of this ever happened. We can go back to how things were before. I'll marry you properly and make you my rightful Mrs. Gu.
He paused for a moment, then added,
You and he have only bowed to each other twice. You haven't even entered the bridal chamber. You aren't truly married yet. It's still not too late to change your mind. If you really consummate the marriage, then there will be no chance to regret it. Think carefully. After 7 years together, can you really just let go like that?
I replied coldly. His eyes were cold as he told the servant, Take him away now. Gu Beichen's face turned pale and his lips trembled. Trembling, he wanted to say something, but not a single word came out, just as the servant was about to drag him away again. At that moment, it was as if he suddenly remembered something, and a flash of madness appeared in his eyes. He suddenly broke free from the servant's grip and shouted,
You can't marry him. My uncle is a useless man who can't even tell right from wrong. If you marry him, you'll never find happiness in this life. You'll just be a living widow. Lin Xingwan, wake up, you beast.
Suddenly, in the festive wedding hall, a shout rang out. With a furious roar, old Madame Gu could no longer hold back. She grabbed the celadon teacup by her side and hurled it fiercely at Gu Beichen. The teacup sliced through the air with a sharp whoosh. It struck Gu Beichen hard on the temple, shattering with a loud crack. The shards were instantly stained with his bright red blood. The blood slowly trickled down his sharply defined face, staining her entire field of vision red. But Gu Beichen didn't lift a hand to wipe it away, as if he couldn't feel any pain at all. He simply stared fixedly. Looking at me, his eyes full of stubbornness and madness, he spoke word by word.
What I said is true. After my uncle was injured, he was never the same again. This is an open secret in the Gu family. It's just that everyone is too concerned about saving face to say it out loud. Marrying him is like jumping into a fire pit. I can't just stand by and watch you ruin your whole life because of me.
Weighed heavily on my heart. My heart trembled. At this moment, I couldn't help but think that Gu Baichen might truly have lost his mind. After Gu Huainan was injured, he had been bedridden and relied on a wheelchair to get around. Although there were occasional rumors that he was no longer a real man, they were just rumors. No one dared to bring it up openly. After all, Gu Huainan was once a legendary war god of Daxi, having made great contributions to the country, and the Gu family was a prominent and respected clan. If such rumors were ever confirmed, not only would Gu Huainan's reputation be ruined, but the Gu family would also become the laughingstock of the entire capital. Yet today, Gu Baichen, Gu Huainan's own nephew, actually revealing this earth-shattering secret in front of all the guests was undoubtedly a slap in the face to the Gu family, Gu Huainan, and myself. I feared that within half a day, the news would spread throughout the entire capital. Then, not only Gu Huainan and the Gu family, but also the Lin family and I would become the talk of the town, the subject of everyone's gossip and pointing fingers. Everyone in the wedding hall was trembling with fear, not daring to utter a sound, not even daring to breathe. The guests exchanged glances, their eyes filled with shock and amusement. They clearly hadn't expected such a commotion at this grand wedding. I took a deep breath, suppressing my anger and humiliation, and slowly, as I approached Gu Baichen, a glint of aggression flashed across his face. He thought I'd been swayed by him, that I'd regret it, and go with him. But the next second, I raised my hand and slapped him hard. The crisp sound of the slap echoed sharply in the silent wedding hall. I hadn't held back at all. I'd used all my strength. Clear finger marks immediately appeared on Gu Baichen's left cheek. 5 bright red imprints, deeply embedded in his skin, burning with pain. Gu Baichen's pupils contracted slightly. He was completely stunned, staring at me in disbelief. He seemed to have never expected me to do this to him. He covered his face, his eyes filled with shock, anger, and grievance. Hoarsely, she said,
You hit me.
"That's right, I hit you," I replied coldly, my voice full of icy hatred. "Who are you to criticize my husband? Who do you think the Lin family is? Who do you think I, Lin Xingwan, am? When we got engaged, do you really think we wouldn't have looked into such a minor matter? Since I dared to marry him, of course I had already investigated everything. Huainan is healthy and strong, not the useless man you claim he is. You just want to ruin someone else's happiness, because you can't have it yourself. Gu Baichen, you really are despicable and shameless to the extreme." As soon as I finished speaking, the atmosphere in the wedding hall immediately became lively, and the guests all began to chime in.
That's right. Miss Lin is absolutely right. The Lin family is also a well-known, prestigious family in the capital. How could they not thoroughly investigate their daughter's future husband? This Gu Baichen must have lost his mind. Just to stop this marriage, he actually said such slanderous things about his own uncle. These rumors are false. Gu Huainan was a legendary war god. Even injured, he wouldn't become a clueless invalid. Gu Baichen is maliciously spreading lies because he won't marry Miss Lin, but doesn't want anyone else to either. How incredibly selfish.
Gu Baichen immediately caught on to the meaning behind my words as soon as I spoke. It's true that before noble women in the capital get married, a matchmaker is sent to the groom's home. To his southern family, there are ways to test a man's capability. I hinted that I'd sent a matron who confirmed Gu Huainan is fine, contrary to rumors. But only I knew that this marriage happened far too hastily. I simply had neither the time nor the mind to send any so-called wedding matron. The reason I said that was merely to silence everyone, to protect Gu Huainan's reputation, and to preserve my own dignity. That slap seemed to have completely woken up Gu Baichen. Normally she would face Chun with a pale face, just about to retort, when suddenly a figure burst in, shoving aside those who were holding him down. Gu Baichen's servant then tightly embraced Gu Baichen, his voice tinged with tears. "Baichen-ge, are you all right? Don't scare me."
The person who came in was Su Ruanswan.
She was dressed in a pink gown, her hair a bit messy, her face filled with anxiety and worry. She looked pitiful and delicate. She raised her hand and gently wiped the blood from the corner of Gu Baichen's mouth. As her sleeve slipped down, it revealed her wrist, which was icy and snow-white. The white jade bracelet was exactly the family heirloom that Gu Baichen had asked me to take back and give to her. Old Madame Gu's expression changed instantly. She stared fixedly at the jade bracelet on Su Runswan's wrist. Her face was full of shock and anger. "Fine. That jade bracelet is a Gu family heirloom passed down through generations. It can only be passed to the legitimate daughter-in-law. Gu Baichen's mother married in wearing this very bracelet, and now it is actually being worn on the wrist of a maid. This is undoubtedly a great humiliation to the Gu family." She strode over to Su Ruan and grabbed her by the wrist. Her grip was so strong that Su Ruan frowned in pain. Madame Gu questioned harshly, "Where did you get this bracelet? Who allowed you to wear it?" Su Ruan's eyes darted around, and she immediately put on a pitiful expression. Her eyes brimmed with tears. With reddened eyes, tears welling up, she choked out, "Madam, this bracelet was lent to me temporarily by Brother Baichen." He said to let me wear it for fun for now, and that when we find the right person in the future, I should return it to the Gu family. Sister Qingwan, are you angry about this jade bracelet? Is that why you want to marry Uncle Gu? If that's the case, I'll give the bracelet back to you right now. You and Brother Beishan should be together. I wish you both happiness. In just a few short sentences, she first clarified her relationship with Gu Beishan. She spoke ambiguously, implying that Gu Beichen had feelings for her, and made it seem as if the real reason I was marrying Gu Huainan was because the bracelet had been taken from me, something so trivial. She painted herself as an innocent and kind-hearted victim. And I, on the other hand, became a petty and impulsive woman. Sure enough, before I could even... As she took off the bracelet, Gu Beichen instead grabbed her hand and shielded her behind him, saying to the old madam,
Grandmother, I gave Ruan Ruan this bracelet. Tonight, she decided to marry Uncle and is no longer a Gu family daughter-in-law. Naturally, she is no longer qualified to wear this bracelet. Ruan Ruan is kind and sensible. She deserves this bracelet.
Su Ruan Ruan's expression cleared. Under the old lady's sharp gaze, she quickly looked down shyly and whispered, Brother Beichen, don't say that. I'm just a maid. How could I be worthy of such an expensive bracelet?
I said you deserve it, so you deserve it.
Mu Beichen spoke firmly, then turned and looked at me one last time. His eyes were filled with resentment and bitterness.
Lin Jingwan, I'll wait for you to regret this. One day, I want to see just how happy you can be marrying a cripple.
After saying this, he pulled Su Runrun along and left the wedding hall without looking back. He left behind a room in chaos and guests whispering among themselves. I felt a bit of disdain in my heart. I simply sneered coldly as I watched his departing figure. What he doesn't know is that my marriage to Gu Huainan wasn't a rash decision made in the heat of the moment, but a carefully considered choice. I waited for him for 7 years, wasted 7 years of my youth, only to be repaid with betrayal and humiliation time and again. My feelings for him have long since died. As for Gu Huainan, he is gentle, considerate, knowledgeable, and witty. He respects me and cherishes me, and that is enough. Besides, I also intend to seek justice for those 7 wasted years. Because Gu Huainan has difficulty walking, no one made a fuss. Simple toasts and traditions followed, and the ceremony ended quickly. After guests left, I followed Gu Huainan to the bridal chamber. Large red candles flickered, filling the room with a warm glow. The air was filled with a faint scent of osmanthus, fresh and pleasant, putting people in a cheerful mood. Gu Huainan sat by the bed, parting the beaded curtain for me. The beads swayed softly with her actions, as if she feared hurting me. Red candlelight shone on her face, softening her cold features. Her long eyelashes added a touch of gentleness. Under her eyelids, they cast a faint shadow, making her look especially tender. At that moment, I actually felt my heart beating faster. Almost instinctively, I lowered my gaze to avoid her eyes, my cheeks growing slightly warm, and a soft laugh sounded in my ear. Her voice was low and pleasant, carrying a hint of laughter.
It's already late, my lady. You should rest now.
Her slender fingers helped me remove the heavy hair ornaments. One by one, the golden hairpins and jeweled flowers were gently placed by her on the dressing table, making crisp, clear sounds. Her fingertips would occasionally brush against my scalp, sending a tingling sensation through me that made my whole body shiver. I subconsciously asked, my voice a bit dry, You really won't change your mind? Gu Huainan's fingers paused, then he looked at me, a hint of a smile, almost a smirk, in his eyes. He leaned in close, his warm breath brushing past my ear, carrying a faint scent of osmanthus.
So, it's better to verify it in person.
Closer now, I saw his eyes were dark, like deep pools hiding raging waves. His intense gaze was overwhelming. For a moment, I felt timid and wanted to retreat, but before I could show any weakness, he grabbed my wrist, applied a little force, and pushed me into the layers of brocade quilts. The gauzy curtains swayed, blocking out the light from outside, and also concealed the gradually intensifying atmosphere between the two of us. It wasn't until dawn that she finally let me go, allowing me to fall into a deep sleep. Perhaps it was the release after 7 years of tension, or perhaps it was the gentleness of the person beside me that put me at ease, but I slept exceptionally soundly. I didn't wake until the sun was high in the sky. When I woke up, I saw Xiao Tao come in, blushing as she carried my toiletries. She carefully helped me sit up and said softly, Miss, the young master has already spoken to the old madam. You don't need to go serve tea today. You can rest well. My cheeks flushed red. Thinking of everything that happened last night, I felt indignant in my heart. So it was true after all. Believing rumors is harmful. Had I not heard that gossip, I wouldn't have been so rude yesterday. It was mortifying. Writing finished, I slowly left the courtyard. But as soon as I pushed open the courtyard gate, I saw Su Ruan Ruan kneeling straight on the bluestone slab at the entrance. Her face was as pale as paper. Her lips were dry and cracked. She looked extremely weak, as if she had suffered a great grievance. Looking more closely, her clothes were somewhat disheveled, and a few strands of her hair had come loose, making her look especially bedraggled. My heart sank, suspecting that her appearance here could only mean trouble. Sure enough, as soon as Su Ruan Ruan saw me, she immediately dropped to her knees and inched her way over. In front of me, she clung tightly to the hem of my skirt, as if grasping at her last hope. She began to sob and plead. Miss Lin, please go see Brother Beichen. Last night you and Gu Guangzi lit the wedding candles. He spent the whole night alone in his room, drinking until he was completely drunk and incoherent. He mistook me for you. He held me and cried all night, constantly calling your name, saying he regretted it, saying he shouldn't have treated you that way, begging for your forgiveness. She cried while secretly watching me. Seeing my expressionless face, she continued, Miss Lin, can you go back to Beichen's side? He truly knows he was wrong. From now on, he will definitely treat you well. He will never let you suffer even the slightest grievance again. Please forgive him. Just this once, okay? Although she said this, she slightly turned her face, unintentionally revealing the mottled red marks on her neck. The marks varied in depth, and at a glance, it was clear these were traces left from intimacy. If one looked closely at her slightly open collar, they would also catch a glimpse of her alluring figure. Her collarbone and chest were covered with similar red marks. It seemed that last night, when Gu Beichen was drunk, it was far from just holding her. And today, her coming here was probably not out of genuine intention either. She didn't want me to return to Gu Beichen's side, but rather to flaunt these marks in front of me. She wanted to make me jealous, to make me regret. I lowered my eyes. Looking at her, my gaze was icy cold, without the slightest ripple of emotion. Isn't this what you've always wanted? You served as her personal maid for so long, staying by her side day and night. I just wanted her to fall for you, to have her make you a concubine, or even marry you as her wife. Now, your wish is about to come true. So why bother coming here and putting on an act for me? Su Ruanruan's breathing became uneven, and the color drained even more completely from her face. She bit her lip, a trace of panic and unwillingness flashing in her eyes, yet she still forced herself to appear strong. She said pitifully, Miss Lin, that's not what I meant. I only respect Brother Beichen, nothing more. I have no other intentions. I just feel sorry for him. He's really suffering so much, isn't he? I smiled faintly, my tone tinged with a hint of sarcasm. Instead of staring at me here, why not think about how to strike while the iron is hot and win over Gu Beichen? But it's a pity. Even if you marry him, I'll still be your elder. I'm his aunt. In the future, after you marry into the Gu family, you'll have to come greet me every day and properly call me aunt. Don't you think that's quite amusing? Su Ruanruan's expression grew even uglier. Her hands at her sides were clenched tightly, her knuckles turning white, yet she still remained kneeling on the ground. She didn't get up, clearly unwilling to let the matter go. Just then, hurried footsteps approached. A familiar voice sounded, filled with anxiety.
Ruan, why are you here? Get up quickly.
The person who arrived was none other than Gu Beichen, dressed in a moon-white brocade robe. His complexion was still pale, with dark circles from last night's hangover. As soon as he saw Su Ruanruan kneeling on the ground, he immediately hurried over to her. He carefully helped her up, his eyes filled with a deep sense of distress. He was just about to turn and question me angrily, but suddenly froze. His gaze landed directly on the side of my neck, where there were a few ambiguous kiss marks. The marks were left by Gu Huainan last night, as he repeatedly kissed the side of my neck, their color vivid. Against my fair skin, they stood out even more conspicuously. Gu Beichen's gaze was fixed intently on those ambiguous marks. His eyes glared with disdain. His jealous and angry voice trembled, treating me like a piece of meat. He questioned me, trembling with disbelief.
You slept with him, Lixin. How could you? How could you do this to me?
I looked straight into those eyes burning with rage, feeling in my heart. When you used my marriage as a wager and cast me aside like an old shoe, you should have known this day would come. I, Lin Qingwan, am not an object. I'm not something you can take when you want and throw away when you don't. Since you don't cherish me naturally, someone else will. My gaze fell on Su Ruanruan, and with a half smile I said, It seems you and your maid had quite a good time last night. I deliberately emphasized the words maid to remind him of Su Ruanruan's status, and also to see how she would react. As expected, a trace of resentment and unwillingness flashed across Su Ruanruan's face. She pressed her lips together, suppressing the hatred in her heart, and said with a pitiful look, Beichen only drank too much, he didn't mean it. It's all my fault, I shouldn't have stayed there. You don't need to explain. I smiled, my tone calm. Even though you say that, the Gu family cannot ignore propriety and let an innocent young woman follow you without a proper status. Today, I'll decide to let Gu Beichen take you as a concubine. This gives you a title and prevents further mistreatment. Immediately, Gu Beichen snapped, Are you crazy? Lin Qingwan, you actually want to push another woman onto me. When did I ever say I wanted to take her as a concubine? His eyes were full of unwillingness and anger, as if he couldn't understand why I would want him to take a concubine, as if he thought Su Ruanruan wasn't good enough for him. A thought flashed through my mind. Of course, I was doing this for revenge. Doesn't he think Su Ruanruan is good? Isn't he willing to give me up for Su Ruanruan? Then I'll just make Su Ruanruan his concubine, so he has to face this maid he once treasured every single day, and let him taste what it's like to be entangled by someone he doesn't like. Unfortunately, he's too arrogant to understand my intentions at all, and even if Su Ruanruan does understand, she would never remind him.
Beichen, this is for your own good.
Just as I was about to apply more pressure, I suddenly heard a deep male voice, gentle, yet carrying an undeniable authority. It was actually Gu Huainan. He was sitting in a wheelchair, being pushed by his personal bodyguard, slowly coming out from the courtyard. He was dressed in a dark blue brocade robe, his face still a bit pale, but he looked much more spirited. His gentle gaze fell on me, carrying a hint of barely noticeable affection. When Gu Huainan approached, a trace of fear flashed in Gu Beichen's eyes. Just moments ago, he was furious, but now he immediately restrained all his emotions and bowed respectfully.
Uncle.
This man was clearly still defying Gu Huainan yesterday, but now he looks as scared as a mouse seeing a cat. I knew something must have happened between them, but I couldn't be bothered to look into it. I simply turned my gaze to Gu Huainan, wanting to see how he would handle things. Gu Huainan gave me a gentle smile, then turned to look at Gu Beichen. His tone was calm, yet carried a hint of authority.
He is your elder. Taking a concubine for you is, of course, out of concern for his nephew. If you continue to behave so rudely and disrespectfully, I'll have someone bring in a governess to teach you proper manners, so you understand the importance of respecting your elders.
Gu Beichen immediately fell silent, not daring to say more. He just lowered his head, his face turning pale and flushed. Once he was quiet, Gu Huainan continued speaking.
Since you look down on this maid and are unwilling to take her as a concubine, then at least give her a title and make her a Tongfang.
A Tongfang's status is much lower than that of a concubine, and she isn't even considered a true member of the household. On ordinary days, she not only has to serve the master, but also the official wife, and even the housekeeper maids can order her around. She has no dignity whatsoever. Su Ransuan's face instantly turned as pale as paper, without a trace of color. She clutched Gu Beichen's sleeve tightly, her eyes full of pleading as she looked at him with grievance, hoping he would fight for a better status for her. Gu Beichen was also somewhat hesitant. Although he liked Su Ransuan's gentle and considerate nature, he still looked down on her maid status and didn't want to take her as a concubine, fearing it would cost him his dignity. But seeing Su Ransuan's tear-filled eyes and recalling last night's tenderness, he couldn't help but feel a bit of pity. In the end, as if making up his mind, he gritted his teeth and said,
Miss, I'll marry her and make her a noble consort. She'll be second only to the main wife in this house.
Although the status of a noble concubine is not as high as that of the main wife, it is still much higher than that of an ordinary concubine. She would have her own courtyard, her own servants, and would not have to serve anyone else. It could be considered a position of dignity and status. Hearing this, I was instantly delighted. Everyone in the capital knows that Su Ranuan ruined my engagement with Gu Beichen. Everyone knows that Su Ranuan is not an easy person to deal with, and that Gu Beichen was foolish and blinded by her. If Su Ranuan had no status or title, perhaps there would still be some noble ladies who, not knowing the truth, would be willing to marry Gu Beichen. At worst, they could find an excuse to have her sold off later. But Gu Beichen was actually foolish enough to take a noble concubine before marrying a wife, and what's more, she was a maid with a bad reputation. I'm afraid that from now on, all the eligible noble ladies in the capital will avoid him, and no one will ever want to marry him again. I was extremely satisfied with this outcome, so I smiled, nodded, and said, "Since you've decided this, let's do as you wish." However, there's no need to make the concubine-taking ceremony too ostentatious. Just keep it simple. After all, she's only a concubine. If it's too extravagant, it will just seem inappropriate. Gu Beichen glared at me fiercely, his eyes full of resentment, but he didn't dare to argue back. In the end, he could only leave, dragging Su Ransoft along with him, both of them full of indignation. My gaze fell on Gu Huainan, and feeling a bit curious, I couldn't help but ask, "Where did you go today? Why did you suddenly come back?" After saying that, I felt a bit shy. There was actually a hint of coquettishness in my words, which was unlike my usual self. Gu Huainan was taken aback for a moment, then gave a gentle smile, his eyes full of affection.
My lady, please forgive me. Today I went to see the imperial physician to discuss ways to treat my legs. I came back late and made you worry.
"Is there something wrong with your health?" I asked anxiously, my heart full of worry. "Yesterday I saw you riding a horse. Did your legs start hurting again because of that?" Seeing how concerned I looked, he was momentarily stunned, then smiled, shook his head, and gently took my hand. His palm was warm, carrying a reassuring strength.
No, I just went to discuss the specific treatment plan for my legs with the imperial physician. In the past, I thought if I couldn't stand, then so be it. I'd gotten used to it anyway. But ever since I married you, I have someone I want to protect. Naturally, I want to recover my legs, to personally take you to see the world outside, and to give you a complete home.
So it was all for me. I was quite moved, my eyes growing slightly red, and at the same time, I felt a bit of joy in my heart. The fact that his legs could actually be healed was, without a doubt, wonderful news for me. What did the imperial physician say? "Is there still hope for your legs?" I asked cautiously, afraid of hearing a disappointing answer.
There is hope. Gu Huainan nodded, his eyes full of determination. The imperial physician said that my legs only suffered nerve damage, and because they haven't been used for so many years, that's why I can't stand. As long as I persist with the treatment, combine acupuncture and herbal medicine, and add appropriate exercise, there is still a good chance of making a full recovery. However, this process might be rather long and quite painful.
"It's all right, I'll be by your side." I spoke up immediately, my tone resolute. "No matter how long it takes, no matter how painful it is, I will always stay with you and take care of you until the day you recover."
Gu Huainan looked at me, his eyes full of tenderness and emotion. He gently pinched my cheek and smiled, saying, "With my wife by my side, I'm not afraid of anything."
In the days that followed, I accompanied Gu Huainan every day to see the imperial physician for treatment. His recovery process was indeed, just as the physician had said, extremely painful. During acupuncture, countless silver needles were inserted densely into his legs. The pain made his forehead break out in cold sweat, yet he gritted his teeth and endured it, never uttering a single complaint. When it came to drinking the herbal medicine, which was extremely bitter and hard to swallow, he merely frowned slightly and drank it all in one go. I saw it all and felt the pain in my heart, but all I could do was quietly wipe his sweat and prepare some candied fruit for him to help ease the bitterness in his mouth. Of course, even though I was busy taking care of Gu Huainan, I didn't just sit idly by and let Gu Beichen and Su Ranyuan enjoy themselves without a care. During these days, I deliberately had people spread the news that Gu Beichen was going to take Su Ranyuan as his favored concubine, making sure everyone in the capital knew about it. For a while, the whole capital was abuzz with gossip. Everyone was mocking Gu Beichen for his foolishness and ridiculing Su Ranyuan for her wishful thinking. The families of those noble ladies avoided Gu Beichen even more, and those who had once considered forming a marriage alliance with the Gu family all gave up on the idea. After all, no prestigious family would want their daughter to marry a man who first took a maid as his favored concubine. Not only would their daughter suffer humiliation, but the entire family would be disgraced as well. This matter even reached the ears of His Majesty and the Empress. The Emperor and Empress, married since youth, were deeply affectionate. They disliked favoring concubines over wives, believing it corrupted morals. The Empress summoned Madame Gu and sternly rebuked her for the family's disgraceful scandal. Madame Gu, also ruthless, felt her resentment toward Gu Beichen and Su Ransuan deepen after the reprimand. Upon returning to the residence, she ordered Gu Beichen flogged 20 times until his skin split and he fainted. Without waiting for his wounds to heal, she threw him into the ancestral hall to kneel and reflect, not allowed to leave without her permission. It should be known that the old Madame Gu usually doted on this grandson the most, unwilling to even say a harsh word to him. Yet now, she had dealt such a heavy hand, which showed just how furious she truly was. When Su Ruinsoft heard this, she was terrified. She stopped her arrogant behavior and stayed in her courtyard, avoiding any trouble. A thought flashed through my mind. She actually knows fear. On the third day of Gu Beichen's punishment, news suddenly spread through the residence that Su Ruinsoft was dead. After learning he was being punished, she feared she would be implicated and that the old madam would vent her anger on her. So, she packed her valuables at night, planning to secretly board a boat and escape the capital to find a place to live a peaceful life. But who would have thought that her movements were quickly discovered by the Gu family? The Gu family's servants hurriedly went after her. In her panic, Su Ruansuan actually tried to escape by jumping into the river, but she forgot that she couldn't swim. As soon as she jumped in, she was swept away by the rushing current and ultimately drowned in the river. When I heard the news, I just smiled faintly, without much emotion. No one would bother to ask why Su Ransuan, who couldn't swim, chose to escape by water, nor would anyone care.